Blessed be your holy name. In Jesus' mighty name we are praying. Can we have a look at something today? Isaiah chapter 40 verse 37. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagle. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Attitude in the waiting room. Attitude in the waiting room. Now, child of God, this scripture is actually revealing to us the place of the waiting room and what is available in the waiting room. That you cannot genuinely wait on God and come out to start badly with weaknesses and certain limitations of life. Am I talking to somebody? Especially when it has to do with delay. From the waiting room, a believer is furnished with strength required for acceleration into destiny as the eagle. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagle. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. That is what is available in the waiting room. Understand that while you walk with God, there is a place called the waiting room, and there is a period of your life where you will find yourself in the waiting room. This is when you begin to understand that God does things and bring them to perfection at his own time. By so doing, you will not expect God to act based on your time. This is what some persons does. They want God to answer their prayers by their own time, at their own convenience. They want God to change their situation at their own timing. God is a God of patience. God is never in a hurry like the mortal man. It is human being that is always in a hurry, always in a haste. But God is patient. He uses time to process things. The understanding of this will enable you to stop trying to put God under pressure. No man can pressurize God. God is the Almighty who does things as it pleases him. He does things at his own time, and the Bible says he made everything beautiful in his own time. Am I talking to somebody? To be more emphatic, what do we mean by the waiting room? What do we mean by the waiting room? The waiting room is the place, the moment, and the period where and when a believer consistently trusts God for the release of his expectation. In the book of Luke chapter 24 verse 49, the Bible said, Jesus said unto his disciples, Behold, I send upon you the promise of my Father, but tarry ye in the city of Jerusalem until ye be endued with power from on high. Tarry ye in the city. Tarry speaks of waiting, and the endowment of the power of God speaks of the expectation. Why Jerusalem was the waiting room. Am I talking to somebody? And in Acts of the Apostles chapter 1 and 2, they waited at the upper chamber in Jerusalem until their expectation was manifested. Am I talking to somebody? In 1 Samuel chapter 1 from verse 1, there was a woman called Anna who was married to Mr. Elkanah, the polygamist, who also had Peninnah as the second wife. But it came to pass that Peninnah was favored with children while Anna was barren, because God has shut her womb. And they, also they, Peninnah continued to mock and ridicule Anna because she was not favored with children. In spite of this, Hannah never gave up. She was consistent, she was steadfast until her expectation materialized. For many years, Abraham and Sarah were in the waiting room, believing God also for the fruit of the womb, like Anna. And for 25 years, they never gave up until their expectation materialized. Am I talking to somebody? If you observe critically, you will see and observe, you will discover that one thing is common among these people: Abraham and Sarah, Anna, and the apostles. The apostles never gave up in their waiting room until they saw their expectation. Abraham did not give up. Anna did not give up. Am I talking to somebody? So if your waiting room must not fail you. You must keep hope alive and remain steadfast in your faith. If your waiting room must produce results, you must keep hope alive and remain steadfast in your faith. However, child of God, the potency of your waiting room, or better still, the result you get from your waiting room is dependent on your behavioral attitude in the course of waiting. Am I talking to somebody? The result you get from your waiting room is dependent on your behavioral attitude in the course of your waiting. Your attitude will tell if you are really waiting on God or you are wasting your time and entertaining the flesh. In Matthew chapter 25, the Bible said there were 10 virgins expecting the arrival of the bridegroom. And the scripture recorded that 5 out of the 10 virgins were wise and the other were foolish. Am I talking to somebody? In verse 5 of that Matthew 25, the Bible says, while the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. They all slumbered and slept. I don't have problem with the wise ones sleeping off, but I am particular about the foolish ones who slept when they should be completing their requirement to meet their expectation. Am I talking to somebody? The foolish ones were equally sleeping when the wise ones were sleeping. Meanwhile, the wise ones were fully prepared and the foolish ones were not fully prepared. This is the case of most believers in their waiting room. They sleep when they should be praying, and praying when they should be acquiring skills for the next opportunity that will happen to them. They pray when they should be acquiring skills, when they should be gathering knowledge, gathering information for the next opportunity that will happen to them. No wonder most of them wait for too long, and they will come back to channel their bankruptcy and failures to the devil. Attitude in the waiting room. You are supposed to come out of your waiting room better and stronger, but you are coming out defeated and disappointed. You are supposed to come out of your waiting room stronger, better, empowered, lifted, but you are coming out defeated. You are coming out more discouraged. You are coming out with more story than glory. Am I talking to somebody? It is never the problem of God. Neither is it the problem of the devil. It is always your problem, because you are the first determinant. You are the first determinant factor of your result through your waiting. You are the first determinant factor of your result through the waiting room. Am I talking to somebody? Thank God Elijah did not miss out in his waiting room when Elijah told him, if you see me go, you will receive the double portion. Elijah was about to be taken, and he asked Elisha, what would you have me do? And Elisha said, I need a double portion of your spirit. And he said, if you see me when I am taken, it shall be so. And Elisha became more focused, and was not carried away by distraction, irrespective of the fact that they were talking while they were going. He became more focused. Listen to me, child of God. It is when the waiting room is becoming overwhelming, when the waiting room is becoming agonizing, that is when you position yourself aright in the place of prayer. When Ezekiah was told by Isaiah the prophet that he was going to die and that he would not recover from the sickness, Ezekiah turned about and faced the wall and began to pray, Lord, remember my faithfulness in your service. When Jesus was in an agony in Luke 22 verse 44, that was when he prayed more earnestly, and the sweat that was dropping was as thick blood falling down to the ground. What kind of attitude do you put on in your waiting room? Am I talking to somebody? What are you doing in your waiting room? Are you praying or you are playing? Are you focused or you are distracted? Are you sleepy or awake and watchful? Are you living a righteous life or you are committing sins while waiting on God? Are you forgiving or you are holding grudges against your neighbor? What kind of attitude are you putting on in your waiting room? Check your attitude in your waiting room.